Hello and welcome back to Theatre's Hidden Helper, Autism, Musicals and Me, hosted by me, Ben Caligari. We talk about autism and how it affects and helps musicals and my endeavours, musicals obviously, and myself. I'm extremely sorry, this is episode 6, and there's been quite a gap between episode 4 and 5 because of starting college and also at the same time GCSE stress, and now there was a bit of a gap between episode 5 and this episode 6, because my granddad passed away between now and episode 5, and it obviously really took a really big toll on me and my motivation and confidence to be able to do this. So I'm very happy that I'm now back and recording again. But obviously that took a bit of a toll on me. And if you, I am trying to maintain a sort of serious notion for the moment because I'm in much better a place than I have been before. When recording episode 5, which was me explaining why I'd been away for a bit, but now we're back. Obviously I've still got a little bit to deal with on the grief side of things, and it obviously won't go away very quickly, but currently I obviously I obviously want to make this as fun for me and you, and try and this is more of a tribute episode. This is why it's why I've called it the letter after my favourite musical, Billy Elliot. Currently, actually let's get crack into it. And we're not going to do any sort of flashy intro like we've done before. I just want to get straight into talking to you guys today because we've had quite a lot of a gap between last episode and now. So, recently I discovered Billy Elliot, the musical, and I've known that it's been out there before, and I've always listened to it, but I've never made more of a connection between it and me since. But now that I've started college and the theme of a very close family member passing away, when I found Billy Elliot, it actually really struck me as a really nice, moving and emotional show that I could connect to in some senses, which is really nice for me to find a show like that, because most of my favourite musicals are just because, oh, they're really cool and I want to be like those, but this one has really struck me as very similar to how I feel. There's a this episode is called episode 6, The Letter, because in Billy Elliot there is a song called The Letter, and The Letter Reprise, and it's about Billy is, let me just explain this. Billy Elliot the musical tells the story of a boy called Billy Elliot, who grows up in Easington, and it's a very big mining town, and this is set during the miners' strikes years ago, and it's about, he takes boxing classes, and one day while waiting to switch over the keys, because the place that they hold the boxing classes that he goes to, the community boxing classes, is also afterwards they hold ballet classes, and he has to wait to give the ballet teacher the keys from the last session, and he actually ends up joining in, and after 2 lessons he actually really falls in love with dancing and finds that he's got a really good passion and a really good technique for it. So it follows him on his journey through through the musical, of him becoming more confident in what he wants to do rather than something that doesn't click with him anymore, because he doesn't like boxing at all, and he's got this friend called Michael who comes out as gay to Billy, and it's a really sweet relationship that both of them have got, But Michael really helps Billy to see that there's nothing wrong with expressing yourself and who you want to be, obviously. And then he has this audition for the Royal Ballet School that he's supposed to meet his dance teacher in the morning at the community hall, but doesn't, because there's a big kerfuffle and talk in Billy's flat with the workers that are on strike, and he ends up missing the audition because of his dad and his brother not accepting the fact that he wants to do ballet. They're constantly in denial about the fact of, oh, obviously it's not our son that wants to do ballet. But anyway, cut to the start of Act 2, one of my favourite musical theatre songs, Merry Christmas, Maggie Thatcher. It's hilarious. But through the Christmas party at the Easington charity drive, his father sings a very emotional song about when he lost his wife, because the letter song in Act 1 and in Act 2 is all about the fact that Billy has found this letter written to him by his mum, who passed away years ago, that he's supposed to open when he's 18, but he opens it quite early because he gets desperate need of, and obviously wondering, what does she write for me? And it's a really emotional musical because it shows how his dad comes to terms with the fact that, yes, his son likes boxing and it's the one thing that his son wants to do. So his father may not agree with it originally or like it originally, but he gets behind him and they rekindle the father to son bond that they really needed, because after Billy's mum died, his father sort of got into a bit of a rut and never came out of it. And it's really emotional, the fact that she wrote this letter to Billy when she knew that she wasn't going to be there for him on his 18th. Obviously Billy goes for a second audition and gets in, and that's how the story ends, of him leaving to become this trained ballet performer. And the show really, especially that song, makes me feel okay, because when I do dancing, I've never had the fact that I've never had someone in my family say you shouldn't do dance or something or anything like that, and I've never had anyone tell me that I shouldn't do dance because it's not for boys. But I have had people that show, oh, dance is that, are you gay, man? And I'm just like, no, but I really like dancing. There's nothing wrong with doing it as a boy, and it's just because of these stereotypes that we've got, like I've mentioned many times before, these toxic stereotypes about theatre. And I honestly, I just want to dance and do acting and singing and, do something that's really fun. And I love it, and I'm really passionate about it. But, my family has always been 100% behind me with whatever I've wanted to do. And the one person that has always been behind me constantly was my granddad. And it's really hard for me to come to terms with the fact that he's no longer with us, because he was the one continual force that was pushing me to go for what I wanted to do, what my goals were, whatever passion that I had. Also, sorry if you can hear my mouse and keyboard in the background, because I'm currently editing it as we speak. But it's really hard for me, especially to think that he won't be able to see my first professional show that I'll be in. But I always say that loved ones always have a way of finding a way back to us, whether that's through keeping a piece of clothing or an item that they had before they passed away that they're really close to, and keeping it close to you so that there's always a connection from them, their spirit, back to you. I currently always wear my granddad's old watch, and it's a bit battered and a bit worn and stuff, but it still works. And I currently wear that, and I plan to wear that always because it's something that links him back to me. You know. Yeah, this is more of a me podcast in a sense, and also musicals as well, obviously. Um, you know, it's just a way of keeping him with me. And obviously it's hard knowing that he is no longer with us and that um he passed away just as I was starting college. It's terrible. And the worst thing is because of quarantine and stuff, and because he was highly at risk, I never got to say goodbye in a sense properly, or give him a hug or shake his hand. That's the worst thing for me. And people always say, don't beat yourself up about it. It's not your fault. And I know it's not my fault. But it's just the one thing that you can feel guilty about, in the sense of you missed that one thing, and you really, you want to do it, but now I know that I can't necessarily do it how I want to. Sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional, but that's how it is for me. I always love my granddad, and I always will, and he will always be with me, wherever I am, whatever I do, and not many people get that amount of support from their family, especially if it's something that's not stereotypically assigned to them. But he was always there with me, and I really appreciate him for doing that for me, and and helping me out in all the ways that he can. Yeah, I love you, Grandad, for that. And I first had anything to do with the National Youth Musical Theatre company, in the sense of I did a summer school with them, and it was actually that and Guildford School of Acting, both did summer schools. GSA was 2018 summer, and NYMT was 2019. And when I asked him, or told my family about the first one, GSA, I told my granddad, and he said, "Do you really want to do this?" And I said, "Yeah, it's one of the things that I really want to do." And he said, "I'll pay for it then." And both of them, because I'm not terribly privileged at all, I'm not upper class, I'm not middle class, it was a bit of a shock that he said that he would fund that, and now thinking about that, you don't appreciate it as much as you do now. He funded both of them solely, and bless him, he was always very lovely and stubborn at the same time, because he would always offer to pay for things. So if it was going out, he would always offer to pay for dinner, pay for a takeaway, and stuff like that. And even he used to do this thing where he would give me what he would call shrapnel, which was any change in his pocket, he would just empty it out and empty it into my hand and say, "There you go," as sort of a pocket money thing. And I'm gonna miss that terribly, not because it was the money, but it was the thing. It was something that we had between us. It's just, that's the reason why there's been a bit of a gap between episode 5 and 6, because it's obvious for anyone it would be hard to deal with this, depending on whether they show it or not. If you show it, then great for you. it's amazing to be able to show that you care about someone and show that that. But even if you don't show emotion towards it, I know that it's still very hard to not get over, but to deal with that fact and learn to live with it. And it's not going to be easy for me because my birthday is coming up in December the 10th. Mark your calendars. I am obviously kidding about that, but it's going to be extremely hard for me on my birthday to not have him there at all. Also he has he I'm sorry, I'm a bit stuttering currently, but I've lost my train of thought completely. But with my birthday, I said to my mum, I want a chair that if we go out somewhere or if we stay somewhere, I don't know, depending on what the COVID rules are, I want there to be a chair that's left empty for him. Not as some people might say, oh, that's horrible to see an empty chair, but that's, for me, is good for me, because then he's got, if there is such thing as the spirit world and spirit energies sitting with you, I want him to have his own space with us, and that's just how I would deal with it. And every show I'd been to, or every show I'd been in, like when I did Oliver and School of Rock, he was always there. And there was a recent time which I will put up possibly on my YouTube channel, on my Instagram, a little bit of for GCSE on my channel. And in one of the first ever podcasts, the intermission was a video of me drumming to Yorktown from Hamilton. And I showed that video to my granddad because I did that for my GCSEs, and he's always been also behind me with anything music-wise, with doing drums and stuff, because it always fascinated him. And I showed it to him because we had bought him a new TV, so that because it was bigger than his old one, and he could watch all of the nature documentaries and Western films that he wanted to in better definition. And I connected my laptop up to his TV so that he could watch the video of me drumming to Yorktown. And it really makes me upset now when I watch that back, and really proud that I'm his grandchild, because if you watch it, I've never seen him smile so much. And that's not me tooting my own trumpet or anything. I've genuinely not seen him smile that much ever. He's always been smiley and cheery and laughing and stuff, but I've never seen his face so free of pain, or because he had a chronic lung condition that made it hard for him to breathe, and he's always been in some kind of discomfort, but it was as if all of that discomfort was taken away from him, and it was as if there was no weight bearing down on him, and that he was completely free and, in a sense of relaxation and an excitement to watch me do that. And that is genuinely probably going to be one of the most saddest yet proudest moments of my life. Even if there's something like, oh, I got into an original West End cast of this as this role, that one will still be my most proudest moment, is him being proud of me. I remember filming when Justin Timberlake's Can't Stop the Feeling originally came out. I remember filming a parody version that I'd made called Can't Finish This Homework at my Nana and Granddad's. and my nana filming it, and my granddad behind her giving me thumbs up as I was dancing down the stairs singing my new lyrics to the song. And he was dancing around behind the camera, and all of that typical Grandad sort of embarrassing stuff for other people, and I absolutely loved it. um and it's those little things that really make you appreciate what people do for you, and how people see you and perceive you. um you know it's it's just how it is for me. I love if I can make someone smile and feel relaxed for a bit, then I'm okay with myself. If that's what will make them have a break from feeling unwell, um yeah. So I've got about 9 more minutes before we cut to the next bit. But before we do go on a lighter note, I did want to say one thing about starting college and going through it, because it's obviously a little bit longer. I've had more time at college now, and honestly, I couldn't be more happy that I'm at Queen Mary's College, Basingstoke, where alumni have included Jodie Samsteele, original Heather Chandler in the West End, and Max Harwood, who is playing Jamie in the Everybody's Talking About Jamie musical movie, and many other amazing and talented alumni. QMC was rated as one of the top 10 colleges in the UK, and I love the teaching staff. I love my dance coach, my acting and movement coaches, and my singing coach and my singing tutor. And this is the one I just today had my first ever singing lesson. I've never had a singing lesson before. I've had lessons where I've been singing with other people, like as in a GCSE music lesson when I've been writing my own songs and stuff, but I've never had anyone teach me technique with singing or anything like that. And a lot of people told me when I told them that they thought I'd had singing lessons before, because apparently I sound really good with technique, and really confident with belting, and really good at hitting notes that a lot of people can't yet. And it's the same with dance for me, because I got picked to do something with the second year college students where they direct the first years, selected first years, and my dance teacher Craig said, okay, so this is blah blah blah, and went down the line and said, and now this is Ben. He's one of the best dancers in the first year. He's got great contemporary technique, and he's got a great sense of rhythm and timing, and a really good dancer, and he's obviously been dancing for many years. And then he said, do you want to tell us anything? And I said, yep, I'm a trained trampoline gymnast, and I've only had dance lessons for a year, because at that point it had just been under a year that I started dance lessons. I started them halfway into year 11, and he kind of turned to me and said, I would never have guessed that by the fact it just must be like meant to be, and that you've got a real talent for it. And I for some reason have this weird ability to pick up things that a lot of people find very complicated very quickly, and that's how I do my drumming and playing guitar and piano and stuff. A lot of people take a long time to pick up things, but from a very young age I've been able to sit at a musical instrument or a practical thing like dancing or something like that and pick it up quite easily, and that's where I think my ability to sound like I've had singing lessons comes from, because I sort of magpie techniques from other people when I watch them and copy them, and that's probably not the best thing, but it gave me a really good start in the fact of I didn't have to pay for any singing lessons, and I hopefully, fingers crossed, can sing in tune and, confidently. And I'm really happy that has helped me a little bit. Anyway, let's move on a little bit because I've got 5 minutes. One thing I did wanted to say about autism, actually, this podcast, is that I found that my autism is really confusing for some reason when I'm at college, because autism tells me sometimes that my autism really makes me struggle in social situations, which a lot of people wouldn't say is me, but I'm talking about when I'm not with friends that I know. I'm talking about when I'm with people who I don't know, like ordering from a cashier or something. Whenever I'm on without any friends and I'm with like family and stuff, I won't order because I don't have to. If I'm talking to someone in a shop, I won't because I don't have to, and I get really anxious. But whenever I'm with meeting new friends and stuff at college, I've been right out there just like, hey, I'm Ben, I do this and I really like to do this, and that's really nice to be able to see that I can start to cope with other situations that I haven't been more confident with. After a couple of weeks of college, I've got a really strong friendship group and sense of who I am. Whereas when I was at secondary school and primary school, it was really hard for me to make friends. At primary school, it took me until year 4 till I made some real good friends. And then in secondary school, I only made friends at the end of year 8, which some people might say, oh, that must be horrible and stuff like that, or you're just ignoring people who want to be your friend. It's not that. It's the fact that I really struggle to talk to new people if I don't know what their interests are. Like with performing arts, I'm so happy that I'm on a performing arts course because everyone's there and they're doing the same thing that I want to do. So I know that that's common ground. I can start a conversation from there. But when I can meet people in a school where you're taught everything, it's really hard to get what people's interests are for me. And, it's amazing that now I've been able to meet new people. And obviously this podcast, if I was sat in front of a group of people, I would probably not be able to do that yet because it's just a group of random people listening to me record something that I'm very self-conscious about. But doing it as a podcast form, I don't have to look at anyone yet or feel like I'm in front of an audience. I'm just looking at my computer monitor. So that's great for me. I wouldn't be able to do that if it was doing a live one every week, which I would hope to do at some point, but, I don't know yet. We're still very small, and I'm happy with that. I'm completely okay with that. As long as the people that are listening are happy and don't hate me yet, then that is absolutely amazing. But now we've got to close the curtains on a bit of an emotional Act 1 for me and go out into the intermission. Now this video is called They Don't Make Glass Slippers from Soho Cinders, and it holds a very special place in my heart because it's from Soho Cinders the musical, and I did a workshop with the cast of Soho Cinders the musical in West End about last Christmas, and they were an amazing cast. I met Luke Bayer, Amelia O'Connell, and everyone in that cast, Ewan Fraser Gillies, and Benjamin Darcy, I believe, and it's been it was an amazing show for me, and it was the song They Don't Make Glass Slippers is I can sing because it has a very emotional root to me, and the fact that this video, mainly why I'm putting it up in my memorial episode of the podcast to my granddad, is because I showed him this as well. And he loved this one as well. He's loved everything that I've done, obviously, because of my granddad, but it was much more than that. It was a thing that he loved to see me do and loved to push me to, because I would have a future doing something, hopefully. So what you're about to watch is me performing They Don't Make Glass Slippers at a school performance, which it's not the best polished performance ever. It was very rushed. However, it was what my Grandad really loved, and I really hope that you enjoy that. So I'm going to play that in just a second. Okay, so I'm very sorry that this has been a bit of an emotional start to the podcast. It will be a bit lighter in the second act. But other than that, please enjoy They Don't Make Glass Slippers by Soho Cinders, sung by me, and I will see you all in the second act. Goodbye.
They don't make glass slippers. It's no great surprise if they made glass slippers. They don't have my size. Happy ever afters always turn out wrong. No fairy godmother pops up to help things along.
Hello and welcome back to the 6th episode of Theatre's Hidden Helper, Autism, Musicals and Me, episode 6, The Letter. So obviously that was Soho Cinders, They Don't Make Glass Slippers, originally performed by Joss Slovic and then also performed by, in the recent West End production, Luke Bayer and Michael Mathia. So welcome back. This may be a slightly shorter second act, but I put up, if you didn't notice, on my Instagram account, at Ben Caligari Official, it will be in the description of this podcast, I put up a load of story slides to test how well you could guess at my musical preferences and bits of my life. It was really short, but I'm going to sort of drag it out now and explain bits of it. So the first slide I put up, it said, I am a fully trained what? And it had 4 options. One was a Lego master builder, one was a competitive swimmer, one was trampoline gymnast, and I can't remember the other one, so I'm just going to go with fully trained dancer. So any of you that didn't get it, no, I'm not a competitive swimmer, no, I'm not a trained dancer, and no, I'm not a Lego master builder. I am actually a trained trampoline gymnast. There's a very well-known and actually for me quite prestigious trampoline academy in Farnborough called Farnborough Flyers, and they're an amazing club, and I ended up getting so good at trampolining and learning technique and routines and stuff that they asked me to transition from the normal trampolining club to the trampolining competition squad. So that would mean I would come on a different night and train with the other squads to learn routines and stuff to take to competitions, which is insane. I'm going to get some pictures of me that I have from competitions, and I'll put them up on my Instagram. They're from a couple years ago, and I still remember routines that I do, still remember the moves that I do, so I'm still trained, and at some point I do want to go back, but maybe not yet, because I'm just trying to figure out what works around college and what won't knacker me out. But I definitely would like to go back to that and doing competitions again, because it's the most fun that I've ever had off of a stage. I can tell you that for a fact. But yeah, I've got some pictures and I may put them up on my Instagram very soon. Just keep your eyes peeled on my Instagram at Ben Caligari Official. Yeah, I don't know what you would peel. Just keep peeled, I guess. There we go. That's the quote for today. Keep peeled, says Ben. But yeah, I would love to be a Lego master builder though. But I wouldn't love to be a competitive swimmer. That would be very tiring, and you'd think about the wrinkly skin that you get from being in the water that long. But anyway, yeah, I'm a fully trained trampoline gymnast. That's something that not many people know about me from looking at me, but I definitely was and still am. Anyway, let's move on. So I can see it here. What musical have I gone backstage at? Now, if you go through my Instagram feed, you will be able to tell exactly which musical I've been backstage on. It's not. The choices were Jersey Boys, 9 to 5, Everybody's Talking About Jamie, and Falsettos. Now, this one is a bit of a mixed bag, because it's very close. 8 people voted for 9 to 5, 9 people voted for Falsettos, 22 people voted for Everybody's Talking About Jamie, and 37 people voted for Jersey Boys. Now, of course, Jersey Boys is the correct answer, although I would like to go backstage on 9 to 5, Everybody's Talking About Jamie, and Falsettos. I did actually see the West End premiere of Falsettos, and I saw it for the first time it's ever been in London and the UK, and it was amazing. I love 9 to 5. It's one of my favourite musicals, and also Everybody's Talking About Jamie. What an amazing musical, and such a a very emotional one as well, and I love that one to pieces as well. I would love to go backstage on Everybody's Talking About Jamie, but I haven't yet. Damn it. But I'll tell you a funny story. When Everybody's Talking About Jamie did a live stream into cinemas, I live in Aldershot. It's not uncommon knowledge. I can reveal that. And we went down to the Cineworld in Aldershot to watch it live streamed, and I met John McCree's mum. And John McCree, if you don't know, he was the original West End Jamie New, who's the lead character, and everybody's talking about Jamie, of course, because his name is in the title. But John McCree is an idol, and he is such a big role model for me in theatre. And yes, I've met his mum, because he is originally from Aldershot. And also, when I went, I didn't actually manage to get a signature from John, because a lot of the times during between a matinee and an evening, he'll sleep in his dressing room to get some rest, obviously, because it's such an intense part to play. But my friends I asked my friends to take my programme when they went, and they said, well, we went stage dooring to see if we could get the signature on the programme for you. But we didn't see him. However, we did see him trying to get into a cab, and my friends yelled his name. They just yelled, John, John, down the street. Can we get you to sign this? And they got him to sign my programme, which is amazing. So thank you, John McCrae, from being from Aldershot as well, and for signing my programme, if some miracle that you're watching this. But yeah, I've been backstage on Jersey Boys Tour, the official UK Jersey Boys Tour. That was not very recent, but it was just a couple years ago, like 2 years ago. And it was amazing because I got to go on the metal scaffolding set and go up the stairs and see how they do the live projection of the people, the Four Seasons playing Sherry, where they use a real old-fashioned camera and project it up onto the back of the wall. I got to see the drum kit, because my mum had sent the Jersey Boys Tour company a video of me playing begging and winning my school talent show, and sent them that video, and they said, we'd like to meet him, bring him backstage, and we'll give him a signed programme. And so I got to meet the drummer for the Jersey Boys Tour, called Samuel First, I believe. Yes, it's Samuel First. And I've got a signed drumsticks by him that he used on the show. And the drum kit is wheeled on and off stage, and it's amazing to watch that. And I got to sit at the drum kit and go backstage and look at all of the props, all of the sets, all of the costumes, all of the stage furniture, and it was absolutely unreal. And I got to, if you see on my Instagram, obviously, it's a picture of me in a red jacket, and that is one of the Four Seasons red jackets, and that made my day. I always wanted to be in Jersey Boys, and that was probably as close as I'll get, but fingers crossed, you know. It's an amazing show. If you haven't seen or listened to the soundtrack of Jersey Boys, listen to it. It will blow your mind. But yeah, that's the story of how I got on the backstage and tour of Jersey Boys. Okay, so the next slide was which musical is currently making me happy and also cry. So choices were Jesus Christ Superstar, everybody's talking about Jamie, Evita and Billy Elliot. Of course, it's Billy Elliot, as I mentioned in the first part of this podcast. It's amazing for me to watch that. However, let's see how many voted. So we had 9 votes for Jesus Christ Superstar, 11 votes for Evita. I do love Evita and Jesus Christ Superstar. I love them to pieces. And so with everybody's talking about Jamie, 21 people voted for that. However, 29 people voted for Billy Elliot, and I love Billy Elliot to pieces. Everybody's talking about Jamie is amazing as well. But yes, currently it's Billy Elliot. Anyway, so the next slide was, what is my go-to song to listen to when I'm sad? Now, I was a bit sneaky of this. There's 3 correct answers on this one. And 1 wrong answer. So the question was, what is my go-to song to listen to when I'm feeling sad? And it was I Wish It Would Rain by The Temptations, Fallen Angel by Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, Dreaming with a Broken Heart by John Mayer, and Sorry Seems to Be the Hardest Word by Elton John. Now, a lot of people know that I like Elton John and 14 people guessed that one, but it's not the one it's not a go-to song for me to listen to when I'm sad. However, I Wish It Would Rain, Fallen Angel and Dreaming with a Broken Heart are definitely songs that I go to immediately. The correct answer was I Wish It Would Rain, because I listen to that the most, but Fallen Angel, currently after my granddad's passing, I listen to that so much, as well as Dreaming with a Broken Heart and I Wish It Would Rain. They're very good songs to listen to for me when I'm feeling sad. They're amazing. Anyway, also, here's a random one. What is my favourite thing to do with my friends? Now, all of my college friends and anyone that knows me, there's one answer on this. See what you can guess everyone voted for. So it was either A, go out for lunch, B, take loads of pictures together, C, prank them, or dance with them, smiley face. Everyone, 36 people went for dance with them. 9 people for prank them and taking loads of pictures together, and 10 is to go out for lunch. Now, I appreciate all of those things, and I love doing those with my friends. I love dancing with people. I've never really pranked my friends. I love going out for lunch with people, but I absolutely love taking loads of pictures together, because it's the one thing that, because I really struggle to make friends and really struggle when friends sort of let me down and let go of me anyway. I like taking loads of pictures together to remind me that the people that I take the pictures with are there for me and that I'm always there for them. It's just a bit of a really nice connection thing for me to have. Yes, and the final slide actually said, even better, tomorrow marks the return of Theatre's Hidden Helper. Yes, today is the return of Theatre's Hidden Helper. It will be more of a tribute episode per se, in memory of my granddad, but it will still be as happy and fun as always. Stay tuned. Now, I hope that's living up to his expectations, even though the first part of this podcast took a little bit of a dark turn. That was my little quiz thing that I put up, but it's fun for me to be doing this again, because I really did want to do it, and I did really want to be able to do this last week, but I just didn't have any motivation to do it. I didn't feel confident enough to do it. I felt like my world would end without my granddad, and in some respects it has. And it's going to be very hard moving forward from this point from me. But I'm still the happy guy that my friends know me for. I'm still really enthusiastic with college and stuff like that. It's just the podcast was the one thing that I was really proud of with him. Anyway, it's just the it's just how it goes for me. Anyway, we're gonna move on a little bit, and this second, what I wanted to mention before I go, is I just wanted to say that, I wanted to mention that, the one thing that this isn't theatre news or anything, it's just something that I'm playing Among Us currently, and I'm terrible at it, okay? there's a game called Among Us, and the idea is that there are crewmates, and the crewmates on the map have to do their jobs to win the game. However, there are people called 2 people or 3 people or 1 person called the imposter, and their job is to kill everyone on the ship and not get noticed and win the game that way. However, I'm good when I am a crewmate, but I'm terrible when I'm the imposter. I play with my best friend Amelia, and so hi Amelia if you're watching. The first game that I ever played with her, she introduced me to the game. We were both imposters, and I accidentally vented instead of pressing the kill button. So I walked up to someone and vented away, which blew my cover. And the other time that we've been both imposters, I screwed up big time by killing someone in front of us and got us both voted off because they saw that Amelia didn't do anything about the fact that I killed someone. But anyway, that's what I wanted to mention. I'm just terrible at Among Us. There are some games that I'm good at, like Gary's Mod and Who's Your Daddy and Jackbox and the Henry Stickmin collection. But Among Us, currently, if I'm an imposter, I'm screwed. I'm terrible. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Also, final thing that I wanted to mention is that I got home today after my first ever singing lesson, and my mum gave me a cardboard box that looked like a record, and it felt like a vinyl record, and I opened it, and it had the original Broadway cast of Dear Evan Hansen, the soundtrack on vinyl, and I've fallen in love with the soundtrack again, blissfully over listening to it through vinyl, and I love it to pieces, and I love vinyl records. Oh my gosh, if any of my friends are listening to this and you want to know birthday ideas and stuff, buy me a vinyl record, anything, John Mayer, Joe Bonamassa, a musical theatre record, anything, and I will love you to pieces, or anything to do with musical theatre, in fact. Maybe a playbill from America or something like that. But the reason I mentioned that thing is because my mum bought it for me, and it's really made me feel much better currently. But the reason I mentioned it is because I recently went onto eBay and found a Tina the Musical playbill from America, but it was in England, right? So that means no US postage, so that means no paying 14 quid or 15, 16, 30 quid extra for postage charge overseas. So I was like, oh wow, how much are they selling it for? Most of the American ones are like $15, and then also plus the $30 shipping fee. This was £3.20, right? And there was 2 bids on it, right? And I found it the day before the bidding ended, so I was like, Mum, went over to my mum, and I said, Mum, you need to help me do this. I have no idea how to use eBay. You use eBay all the time. How the hell do I use this? And she said, okay, calm down. I will help you later. Set an alarm for 10 minutes before the bidding and the item ends, and I will do the rest. And I said, okay. So I had it on my phone showing that it was going down from 15 minutes to 12 minutes, 12 minutes to 10. When it got to 10 minutes, I was like, Mum, come over, come help, I'm going to lose it. And she said, oh, what? And I said, can you help me buy this, please? And she said, yeah. She did it all for me, and I was counting down. I was like, 5 minutes, Mum. Come on, get the bid in. She was like, yes, I know. 2 minutes, Mum. 1 minute, Mum. Then I went, 10 seconds, Mum, 10 seconds. And then it said someone had bought it then. And I said, oh, excuse my language, but oh, crap. And I said, I've lost it now. And then Mum went, no, I haven't. I've just bought it. And I was like, oh, you bought it? And I was so excited because it was amazing. And Tina is one of my favourite musicals as well, because obviously, who doesn't love Tina Turner and Adrian Warren? And it's my first ever American playbill, and it's tiny, but like, it's so special now to have that for me. But anyway, I've got to move on to finishing this episode because it's been really fun, but I have a drama club to get to now, as I'm recording this. So the final thing for me to mention is how you can get involved with the podcast. Now, I am planning to have a guest next week. for the special episode that I mentioned in my previous episode. I had to push that special episode back a week because of the fact that my granddad passed away and I was feeling no motivation and not happy at all. However, we are going to have that special episode hopefully next week. And it will be guests joining me throughout the episode, so not just in the second act. That's pretty insane. It's like, whoa, that's breaking the laws. But anyway, they will be with me hopefully next week and next episode. But I'm just about to tell you how you can apply to be in an episode of the podcast. Now, obviously, I appreciate people who are in musical theatre already and professionally performing, but I do want to be able to get a general idea of what the fans of musical theatre and the fans of theatre love about musical theatre. So if you want to be interviewed on my podcast so that I can ask you what is it that you like about musical theatre, what do you love about musical theatre, what are your preferences, what do you think about this piece of news, you can either do one of two things. You can email me, which will be in the description of this podcast. It's bencaligariofficial@gmail.com. Or use the email button on my Instagram profile and give your email the title of I want to be interviewed on the podcast, and then just tell me why you would like to be interviewed and what you would like to discuss on the show. Also, you can also direct message me on Instagram and tell me that you want to be interviewed on the podcast and what you want to discuss. There'll be a link to my Instagram in the description if you want to go and follow this. If this is the first time you're watching the Theatre's Hidden Helper podcast series, you can go into my my channel, just click on my channel and go into playlists, and there will be a playlist that says Theatre's Hidden Helper podcast, including intermissions, and all of the past episodes will be there. So I really hope that you've enjoyed listening to me ramble on again about musical theatre, autism and me. But that is it for this episode, and I will see you next week in the next episode. So we're closing the curtains finally, and we're just about to leave the auditorium. So thank you for listening, and I will see you next week. Goodbye.